Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to some Black Rose Wars content. This is print and play stuff that I have found in various different locations for the Black Rose Wars game. Now, all but one of these are official or semi-official from Ludus Magnus Studios. So we have like a brand new scenario. We have a couple brand new scenarios. We have some add-on card modules, which those are the ones that are kind of semi because I found people that have created different versions of them, but they were available. We'll go over them when we get there. They were available in earlier Ashes magazines or demo stuff, but people have actually made better versions of them that you can print and play for yourself. And then there is a brand new Christmas school that you're available through their web app store. You can also download a lot of these through that as well. And then the only thing that's going to be unofficial is there is a school for the Angelic school that was created that people made, and but the only reason I'm adding that in here is because during one of the campaigns, Ludus Magnus Studio actually posted that particular school up and let people know about it. That's why I found out about it. So since they are officially endorsing it, I'm going to put it in there. Now, I refound a link for it. They've actually updated it since then. I don't have the updated version. And there's other stuff on the Discord for the Ludus Magnus Studio, the unofficial Discord. There's a lot more fan-created stuff. Maybe someday I just found about it today before I did this video, so maybe I'll dig through there, find some other stuff, and do a follow-up video. It's like a fan-made thing. But for now, I just want to kind of focus on the main things. So before we get into the print and play stuff, I wanted to take a look at a bunch of promo cards. So there have been promo cards or additional cards that have been released, like they were maybe in some of the earlier Ashes magazines, maybe they were pre-orders from some of the different sets, maybe they're just available at conventions or whatever, and you might not have seen them or wanted access to them. So I printed off some versions of them, one so I can use them for myself, and then, because if I can find them at a reasonable price, I will definitely purchase them. I like the official material since they do exist in an official capacity. But in the meantime, I want to be able to have access to play with the materials. So let's take a look at these promo cards. So what I do is I usually print all this stuff out. I put them on sticker paper, and I had extra Black Rose Wars cards, so I just go ahead and added them to that. So we have Prismatic Cage. So these are all forgotten spells. And some are, I think they're all rebirth style. So this has a persistent effect. And if the text is kind of crappy, it's because I got the best screen cap I could get. Being it's a foil card, it also makes it hard to get the exact version of it. It says persistent. Each time a target has resolved a spell effect, choose an effect, inflict 3 damage to the target, convert 3 damage on the target, place 2 instability in that room, of the same room as the target, inflict 2 damage in a room in the exact space as the target, or place the target in a 0 room from you, and the room from you inflict 1 damage to the target. So it's kind of neat. Either damage or convert their thing, or hit the entire room, or do some instability, or you can bring them to you, and then damage them that way, a little bit less. So that's kind of cool. Then we have the Alma Mater Studitorium. The Alma Mater Studitorium. So search through and draw 4 cards from any school of magic. You cannot choose a forgotten magic school. Reshuffle all the decks you search in the library, gain 3 points. It's kind of cool. Get some extra cards. On the flip side, we have remove up to 5 cards from your memories and your hand. Shuffle together your memories and grimoire. Draw spells from your new grimoire and add up to your maximum hand size. Gain 3. That's also a very neat effect. So the one just gets you a lot of extra cards you can use. This one is going to have you remove 5 cards that maybe you're like, these aren't working as well as I thought they would in this version, or maybe I picked them up early and now I don't want them as much because I've refined my deck better. But you can shuffle your memories in Grimoire and draw spells so you have new maximum hand size. Also, it's a great way to refresh your deck quick. It's getting like maybe halfway, and you're like, oh, I really loved a couple of these spells I just played. You could go ahead and reshuffle them and get them back in there a little bit quicker. Up next, we have Armageddon. Inflict 4 damage to all targets in play. You suffer 2 damage from the Black Rose. So just, boom, hits everybody. On the flip side, choose 3 rooms except the Black Rose and Thorn rooms. Send the mages back to their cells. Destroy the rooms and gain 4 points. Nobody takes the room tokens for the instability. So that's, again, it's kind of a neat idea. That's always fun about the Forgotten cards. They can be a little bit more abusive or powerful. Then the next one I have is Supreme Invocation. Up to 5 models, mages, or evocations in the lodge can act immediately under your control. This includes your evocations, but not yourself. On the other side, we have summon up to 3 different evocations from the ones available in play. In 3 different rooms. You cannot summon evocations derived from the Forgotten School Magic. But it's also only ones that are available. So you can only do it if they would be available through either them schools or through the rooms. So you can't pick like pigmen that would be in the myth school, or something that might be available from a mage's card, unless you have those in play. So cool. Alright, then the last one we have for that is we actually have Baby Cooley. So he's actually he was in one of the early Ashes magazines. He's one of the first ones that came out. I think it was like, I want to say issue 3, which is well before I discovered the game. I didn't discover it until probably like, I think Ashes number 6, maybe 6 or 7. So he was a nightmare that came out. And he had his own Forgotten card. You could summon him, but he was a familiar. So what I did is I didn't have the miniature, so I printed it off. I made a little custom token showing the miniature on there, so I can use him to summon him to the game. It says, Cooley is a nightmare, says a little Cthulhu monster. Can't suffer attack and can't be removed by spells. When he attacks, Cooley always targets the mage he is assigned to. The mage defeated by Cooley attacks must assign him to another mage. If he can't or is defeated by any other way, Cthulhu remains assigned to that mage. So this is Nightmares, and they would have had the crescent bases, which would have, this was probably designed back either right before or when it was still the original Black Rose Wars, before Rebirth came out. And then Rebirth had the Umbra, which had the crescent bases. But this works just like those guys. So he does 3 damage. And he has infinite health. So basically, once he comes out, he's just going to keep attacking people repeatedly. How do we summon him? We have a Forgotten spell, which is fucking, and I'm probably butchered even though it says, when you draw this card, shout fucking, and then reveal this card and apply its effect. Discard all the other cards you drew with this one. Assign a Cthulhu to a mage within any space. If you can't do this, assign it to yourself. So make sure, unfortunately, if you draw this and there's all the other mages are dead, you're going to get assigned them yourself. It says gain 3 points and then discard this card. So that's pretty cool, though, right? It was originally a promo in essence, and then they put it in the magazine. But yeah, I kind of also want to show this off so someone's like, oh, do I want to hunt this down? Because if you look at the magazine, you can go on and reread the magazines for all the articles and stuff. They don't have any pictures of this card in there, so there's no way for you to decide, or like all his information. So I like hunt these down on the internet. But I thought it was a good thing to be able to check out in case it's, hey, maybe I might want to pick him up. And there you go. Alright, so then the last promo card we had was an event card for the Duels games. This came with the original Void Duels if you pre-ordered it. So it has just your different events you can get on there. So it says turn 1 is Devotion. Each mage gains the old Mark of the Old Ones card. On turn 2 is Fanaticism. Each mage gains a Mark of the Old Ones card. Turn 3 is Forbidden Ritual. The Black Rose gains 3 points until the end of the turn when a mage places instability due to an effect of a spell. That mage may place 1 instability in a room of themselves. And then turn 4, Uncontrolled Decay. The Black Rose gains 3 points. Each mage has +1 attack for each mark of the old 1 card they have. And on the flip side for that, because we always have the 2 sides, we have turn 1's Manifestation of Fear. The Black Rose puts 3 damage on each mage. Each mage places 1 instability in 1 space of themselves. Turn 2 is Primordial Terror. The Black Rose gains 2 points. Each mage summons a Daigon in 0 spaces from themselves. Turn 3, Distorted Minds. The Black Rose gains... I got textured back on this card. Let me take that out. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Black Rose gains 2 points, starting with the player who has the crown, proceeding clockwise. That player chooses one of their evocations, and Black Roses activates that evocation under their control, and then turn 4 is Descent into Madness. Each player chooses one of their evocations and removes it. Black Rose gains 2 points for each evocation removed due to this effect. So it's always fun about something like this is 1, more options for the events you can play it, and 2 is something like this uses the Daigons, the other side doesn't. And then this one also then doesn't use the Madness for the other side did. So if you didn't really like the Madness cards, you could play it this side and just use the extra summon. And then you could even potentially just keep that around if you want to use it in a different one, like for Lex or Kami as well. Alright, so that's what we had for some different promo cards. Alright, so now we're going to look at some print and play stuff. So first of all, we're going to look at a scenario. It's called Legendary Scenario, It's a Trap. So the Legendary Scenario is a special game that allows you to play events from the world of Black Rose Wars Rebirth by applying specific set of rules and using Legendary Scenario cards dedicated to it. It's a Trap mage will have to use the largest powerful contraptions to their advantage. Those who fail will be lost. So we've seen scenarios throughout some of the Rebirth stuff. They're adding things. Basically, if you're playing with this group, you can change. It just slightly changed the rules. It was they're an idea to play on this stuff from the original Black Rose Wars in the Kickstarter box. Why can't I think of the name of it right now? What they give is a campaign, and then each of the 7 campaign modes had a little bit different rules on how to play. Some had extra tokens and stuff. And we're actually seeing some of them follow up. Like they have Portals for one, where now Portal's going to be in the Kami dual set. So yeah, it's kind of cool we're adding some of this stuff in here. So our game components, we have add a number of contraption tokens shown in the lodge layout image. The contraption represents the lodge by a designated token if you own it, or you may use the model instead of this token. They do have printing, or they do have STL files if you want to make 3D tokens. A contraption also has an additional rules and ability described below. Apply the following during the regular game setup. So there are 4 contraptions you're going to use. Apply the following during the game setup. Steps 1, 2, and 3, instead of what's indicated on these points, arrange the rooms and cells as shown on the image in relation to the number of players. Once the step is complete, place the second cube on spot 10, third move on spot 20, and the Black Rose cube on spot 30. Place each contraption on each tile indicating the layout. So, that's always one thing the Legendary Scenarios like to do, is they have you rearrange and you change the layouts of the different levels and the different cubes you're going to do, the phases of the moon. So that's always a cool thing, because then you can like kind of modify the game for a little bit different thing. So then we have on the next page, I'm just going to skip this page quick. We have the last page. We have the lodge layouts. So this is showing if you're playing the different lodges, how you show this tile. Now, obviously, when you're anytime you're setting these up, the contraptions are going to go here, but just randomly shuffle any of the purple ones or any of the black ones, so you're not the purple, the 2 purple ones or the blue ones. So you don't know which ones are going to be, but yeah, you can set this up to a 1-player, 2-player, 3-player, 4-player, 5-player game. It's very, very cool there. Alright, then what do we have for the rules? It's a trap. Mages have access to a new physical action and new action. So you can spend a physical action for Handle. Move 1. You can perform this effect a number of times equal to your speed value. For every single move, dot 1 separated by a dot is different effect. You can use all or only part of them. Nevertheless, you cannot use different effects between one move, dot move. So what you do then is you can spend a point to move this one, and you can activate a contraption at 0 space. So do one of those two things. And like unbridled research, choose one of your readied spells, discard it in your memories. When you do, you may perform handle. So there's a way to use that instead of spending a physical action. The following rules apply while playing the legendary scenario. Deadly traps. When a mage activates a contraption, they choose a side of the 0, and it's supposed to be able to contraption where they are, of the map, which is just on the side of the room there, and rotate the contraption in that direction. In the case of the represented by the token, rotate the arrow to the chosen direction, so see a little arrow on it. And if you're using the model representing the Trinacera, in the chosen direction, so the face, whichever way the face is going. After the direction has been chosen, the mage inflicts 2 damage to every other tile in the lodge in the chosen direction's line. Living Arsenal, when an event card whose effect applies to the black road space is placed on the event board, the rose inflicts 2 damage to each mage from a contraption. So if you can use it to attack across the board, like so. So if it's aiming this way, then hit 2 and 2, hit everything in that direction. So that's kind of neat. And then you can move it around the board if you'd like as well. But if the mage ends up playing the event card, the event card whose effect applies in the black row space is placed on the event board. The rose puts 2 damage to each mage, so you take damage, but you're still with the trap. So honorable mention, at the end of the game, the mage with the most trophies gains 4 points. If no mage is tied, no mage gains additional points. The mage with the least solved quest gains 4 points. If no mage is tied, no mage gains additional points. Yeah, so it's kind of neat. It's basically just the big thing is you're adding this extra token into the game that can be moved around. You can use to attack through. You can hit mages, hit evocations. So it can be kind of a fun, interesting thing to do. Again, depends on they have specific layouts you have to use. But is there any reason why you couldn't just add this to any mode? Sure. And if you have 4 of them in there, that's going to cause some definite destruction. Now, also note, though, all 4 of them are always right in the 4 spots right around the Black Rose room. Again, you can always take this mechanic and play it very differently and do them in different orders or have them in different spots. Just to make the game a little bit more interesting. That's always a fun thing to do. So here's printed off tokens. Like I did with lots of my other stuff, is I print these off on sticker paper, and then I stick them to a card and I cut them out. So they're probably not perfect, but they're utilizable for what we need. So I made 4 of them. I made them double-sided because that's how they gave you a copy for 8 of them. Just that way it didn't matter which side. I've also went through and I have recently got a 3D printer and I started trying to print these out. Now I'm still working on getting it down to work very well, but this is the idea of what this would look like. I have some adjustments to do on my stuff. Doesn't really want to focus. Let me move this stuff out of the way, see if maybe I'll focus a little bit better. So you can kind of see that on there, but yeah, I gotta adjust some stuff. I made one in a different color as well. But even this, even if it's not like perfectly clear on what all the stuff is, and it's a little scratchy because of my printer, but here you can usually tell like what direction it's pointing. So if you have it facing that direction, you can tell it's going that way. So yeah, very, very cool. You can print these off. Again, the files along with that are free on the Ludus Magnus web app. So that was our first scenario. All right, our second scenario, which is right here. I just combined everything. We're going to jump into this. We have legendary scenario, a Spiritus Tarot. So Spiritus Tarot, the malicious springing spiritual, wants to ruin the holidays. Can the mages stop his evil and mischievous villain, or will they go home with their pockets full of coal? Additional setup. So set the log up. Log is indicated on the next page, which I apparently did not print off. So I do not have that page with me. Oh, nope. I do have it. I got it mixed up with the other one. Never mind. We got it then. Place the second moon cube in slot 13. So that's crazy, right? You're starting it way down here on 13 instead of usually on 6. Next slot on the third one on 25, and the black rose at 35. So you're going to be playing a lot longer game. Such purchase material following the rules card links, but place each purchase event card on top of the corresponding moon event deck. So scenario rules. The following rules apply when playing in Legendary Scenario. Ruin the Holidays. After Spurge's event card is placed on the event card discard pile, if it shows the same moon of the event deck currently in the event board, take that card and place it covered at the top of the event deck. Evil Gifts. When a Spurge performs a physical attack against a mage, he obtains a bonus to his attack equal to the number of gift cards owned by the mage. So if he attacks, he's going to try and attack. You're going to get these gift cards throughout the game. So then that first one says, if he shows the same mood of the event deck currently on the event board, take that card. So like when you're in the first moon, first phase, every time it gets in there, as long as you're in the first phase, it's going to keep coming back. Every time it gets off the board, it's going to pop back up and be right back up in there. So the following game, at the end of the game, according to the number of gift cards on each mage gains or loses the following. Mages with the highest amount of gift cards earn 6 points. Mages with the second highest earns 3. All other mages with any amount gain +1. All mages without any gain -4. Interesting. So then here's our layout for a 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 player game. Now you notice I don't have a 1 player game. Could you play this with an avatar? I'm sure you probably could. You just have to decide how you want to do that, probably. Where you want to put the avatar at. But, yeah, it's kind of neat, different shaped room instead of, like, the normal kind of more hexagonic shape. So, pretty cool there. So, then we got a bunch of cards. We're going to drop our camera down to get a picture of these. So, we have Spiritual Rules. So, now there's also an STL file for him if you want to print off his miniature. Again, I am still working on honing in on how my 3D printing works, so these are pretty rough. And I haven't this one I didn't snap off because he was really bad. This is one of my second or third things I ever tried printing. And you can see I'm missing a lot of stuff, and I didn't have some of the things set right. And I printed a little bit later, and I just didn't finish clipping everything off. And I think I have a third one I don't have with me, where I reprinted them with some ports, which I was supposed to do to keep the chain going on. But you can kind of see, it's definitely neat, you can get them. If you're not familiar with the Spriggans, they are from Nova Eictus. They're little, like, goblin-y looking creatures with, like, goat legs kind of thing. So we have some Sprucha rules. We're going to have our 3 event cards, a evocation card for him, as well as a gift deck. So what are our rules in here for how he plays? To use Sprucha in the Black Rose Wars game, follow points during the game. Play Super Evocation card revealed on the table near the event board. Choose 3 Sprucha event cards. For each one for each moon. Shuffle the gift deck and place it covered near the event board. So very cool. Very, very simple. Alright. So then we have his card. He's a Forgotten Beast. And they put Forgotten on here just so that you can't use him to summon for other effects. Now, if you don't have this miniature and you have a Sprigging from Nova Eictus, you could use that instead, definitely. If you just want a miniature represented. So the Spurcha is owned by the Black Rose Ward. When Spurcha activates, he moves towards the crown holder. If he reaches them, he performs an attack against them. When Spurcha is defeated, each mage that has inflicted at least 1 damage to him draws a gift card. So he has 4 health, he has movement of 3, and he attacks for 3. So he's going to be just running around trying to punch everybody, but he's going to keep moving his targets around. But if you can deal at least 1 damage, you can get a gift card. Then we have our 3 moons, our half, our crescent, our half, and our full moon. So if we look at each one of those do. So for the crescent moon, here comes Sprucha. If Sprucha is not in the lodge, place him in the Black Rose room, he activates. This comes in, Black Rose gets 2 points, starts in the first spot, and when it leaves, they gain 2 points. For the half moon, we have Sprucha's Dance, which gives someone the crown. If Sprucha is not in the lodge, place him in there, he activates twice. Same thing, 2 in, 2 out. And then for the full moon, Sprucha's Carol, if he is not in the lodge, place him in there, he activates 3 times. And then 2 in, 2 out. And again, every time that this hits that discard pile, whether it gets pushed out or if it just takes 3 turns to go out, if you're still in that phase, this will go right back to the top of the deck and he'll come back in. So if you defeated him, he will come back shortly, within a couple of turns. So very interesting. Alright, then we have our gift cards. We have a bunch of those. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. And I did the same thing with all my cards. I had some extra event cards. So I did was I printed these off and I stuck them on the actual card so you can kind of see that card bank. Now you can be like, your borders aren't that good or whatever. That's fine. It's my own print and play game. I'm not taking these to tournament. I'm not trying to sell these. So I'm fine if they're a little wonky looking and they're not the exact right size. Because the files that we have, and this is one downside of lots of this print and play stuff, is one person made a file there that you have to just print at that size. Another one you have to print at full size. Some of them are a little different here, a little different there. They're a little bit smaller, they're a little bit bigger. Some have bleed edges, so you're supposed to print them bigger and then be able to cut them down. So it's kind of a pain to get everything to fit exactly right because nobody wants to make the same file every time. Every different print and play file, just easier. Like, you print this, cut around the borders, it's the correct size. Everyone makes them a little bit different. So here we have Teddy Bear. I think some of these have duplicate cards. So this says, reveal this card at the end of the game before any calculation from the point bonuses. Apply the card effects, and gain the points indicated below. So Mage gains 1 point for each evocation you own. So this is kind of neat. So if you have end of the game, you could get some extra points. We have a second one of those. We have the Ugly Sweater, and we have 2 copies of that one. It says reveal this at the end of the game for any calculations. Check this. So you just feel warm, but you get 2 points. Down here, we have 2 copies of Badly Designed Board Game. I like the little poke fun at themselves there. This card counts as a solved quest card, and you gain 1 point. We have 2 Unexpected Gifts. So this one says, the Mage counts the number. This card counts as 1 trophy of the Black Rose War, of the Black Rose. That's kind of neat as well. And then we have 4 coal cards, which will be Mage. If you're the Mage with the most coal gift cards, you lose 1 point for each coal gift card you own. So kind of like you want to be collecting these so you can gain extra bonuses. You can gain the extra points for the honorable mention at the end of the game. But then you have an extra. But if you get too many of these, then you're actually going to get penalized. So this is a fun little extra mode. Adds a little holiday theme to it if you want. But it's also the first version of a servant, which are the kind of precursors to even avatars. Avatars act as a full mage. Servants act as a evocation that kind of sits in the dungeon or in the lodge and gets to activate and do other stuff. So they're kind of in there, and it's not the only one they've done, but this is the first one I think they actually call it a servant. Because kind of I think Ezio in the very first Kickstarter was kind of like that too. You summon him, then you just go around and do whatever you want. But then once you defeated someone, he went away. So it wasn't the exact same thing. But they have a couple others like Raisin from Blood. Had a card in one of the Ashley magazines. It was just like this. He would come in, he would do his own thing. So you could be still playing your normal game, but you have this extra little threat coming out that's maybe not, it's not as powerful as a full mage, but there's something they're kind of manipulating and messing with the board. And this is a fun little mechanic. You can definitely see them adding more types of things to. Alright. So then, as long as we're talking about Christmas stuff, let's talk about the Christmas school. So we have a Christmas school that they designed. Now this is meant to be a little bit more, I don't want to say powerful, but it's meant to be a little bit more unbalanced. So don't download this or play this expecting like, hey, this is gonna pop in and work right along with everything else. It's kind of meant to be a little bit of a goofy set, but it is a full set of cards. I have every single one of them here. I have 3 copies of each, so it's just like any other deck there would be. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So before we do that, we do have Happy Little Helper characters. We have some more Spriggans in here. They're carrying a little Ludus Magnus Studios statue. And we have 3 of them, because you can have up to 3 of them. They're beasts, but they're not forgotten, like Sprucha. So these are maybe like the good elves that didn't run away. So it says, Happy Little Helper has +1 attack for each Ludus Magnus game the owner has. So obviously, this is one of them things where, it's a little bit goofy, tongue-in-cheek. If you don't own any games, you're just playing around with this. Now you can just assign them a standard thing and say 3, which is 2 or 3, which is a typical attack stack. So it's not even too bad. And then someone can always argue, like, what's your definition of each game? Is it each series you own? Like, do you own a Black Rose Wars, a Nova Eactus, Chronology, DEI, Sing Tempor, Breach, and there's a bunch of other ones too. Or do you count, like, various versions? Like, is Black Rose Wars different than Black Rose Wars Rebirth, Black Rose Wars Revised, Black Rose Wars Dual Lex, Dual Void, Dual Kami? Like, you just own the Black Rose Wars, you could have like 6 different ones there. So yeah, and I'm not even talking talking expansions or Kickstarters, but I'm saying each one of those are technically a standalone game you could buy by itself. So like you count each one of those as a separate. So yeah, that'd be, because like if I started counting every separate game I own, because I have like all those 4 or 5 there. Plus, I have Dungeonology, I have Nova Eactus, and I have Nova Eactus Renaissance. So I have 5, 6, 7, 8, just off the top of my head. Plus, I have Blood coming, which would be 9, and I might pick up the and I have Requiem, which would be 10, and I might pick up the new one coming out. I can't remember its name, like Grafoni. Which would be like 11. So I mean, if I counted all them different things, I could have anywhere between probably just Black Rose Wars as a thing. I could probably have somewhere between 5 to maybe 11 damage on this card, which would basically defeat anybody. Like, if you're doing 11 damage, it'd be pretty crazy. So I also did have tokens in here, and they have the 1, 2, and 3 little marks on them. And that's so you can know which spot they're supposed to be in. They have their little symbols here for the same thing. So you have a 1, a 2, and a 3 on there. Because obviously we don't have the miniatures to put the bases on or put the pegs in if you have the original ones. And I did make these double-sided again. And I had an extra set because I have extra versions of the cards. So I just put them on some of the round tokens there, so the exact same size as the rest of them. Alright, let's hop into our actual set here. So we have, and then if you know the game, you notice who this little Santa guy is. This is Santa Judas. Everyone's favorite. Now they need to make a miniature of him, so I can use him in every game. I think this comes from, I want to say, possibly I don't want to say Runar artwork, but I think that might have been the time he was from. But yeah, little Judas, but he's giving out Christmas presents. So we have Well-Deserved Coal. So a quick spell here. It says, choose a mage. If you do, that mage discards all the cards in their hand. You gain 2 points. Happy holidays from Ludus Magnus Studios. So it's a little bit of abusive. We have Elf Contract. Target a non-forgotten evocation. The owner of the target gains 2 points. Gain ownership of the target. You may place the target's evocation in any of your available slots. I definitely need more little helpers. The Suspicious Box. Inflict 2 damage starting from the mage who has the crown to each mage. 0 spaces from the target. Place 1 instability in that room. Tick, tick, tick. Boom. That's kind of neat. So yeah, with 2 damage starting with the mage and then anyone else. And so you're going to give them a box and it's going to blow up and hit everybody else. Surprise! Inflict 3 damage. If the target is a mage, that mage may draw 1 card from your grimoire. I hate surprises. Just the happy little helper card. I love that they changed the artwork to have his little happy little helper symbol on there. I don't know why when they did the reverse side, they just flipped the image rather than redrawing it, which is kind of funny. But yeah, summon a happy little helper. The Union of Little Helpers declares every little helper is a happy helper. Doesn't matter if you care there or not. Too many toasts. Choose 1 ready spell on another mage's sheet. Rotate that card to the opposite direction without revealing it. My head may be spinning, but I am so happy. That's a fun effect in general, because that could really mess up some people's strategies. Then we have this one, which is a crazy amount of text for a card. The Family Lunch. Choose a mage, you may place them in the target room. Choose another mage, you may place them in the target room. Choose another mage, you may place them in the target room. Choose another mage, you may place them in the target room. And choose another mage, you may place them in the target room. So you get to do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, up to a 6-player game. You can bring everyone to one room. It's whatever room you select. It's not even your room. But that could even be even worse. Then Uncle Pedro and Grandma Giuseppa and Aunt Adelortia and your cousin Estornia will also join us. We have just Santa Claus. Gain 3 power points. All the mages draw 1 current moon quest. Oh. Instead of ho ho ho. That's pretty cool. Gift openings. Choose 1 ready spell on another mage's sheet. That mage discards that card and add it to their memories. Merry Christmas. The Secret Santa. Choose 1 ready spell on another mage's sheet. Choose 1 ready spell on a sheet of a different mage from the previous one. Swap the ownership of those spells while maintaining their side, light or dark. 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me. Again, kind of like rotating their spells, discarding hands. Didn't just swap 2 people's spells? That could be pretty crazy. The only thing I would question, I would wonder, per rule wise, would be is what if you switch their personal card? Do you now get access to their personal spell? Or once that spell just goes back to their discard? That'd be the only question I have. The same thing when you flip them over, I would assume that like if you flip it over and it is a one-sided card, it wouldn't matter. You just flip it back over and use the one side. We have Unsettle. Convert 4 instability. For each instability converted to this effect, the owner of that instability may draw 1 card from their grimoire. All Christmas gifts are good, but I don't really agree with that. And then the last one we have is the Grinch. Draw 1 card from the current moon. If the Black Rose gains points due to this effect, you may gain that many as well. Bleeding Hearts of the World Unite. So yeah, this is kind of a fun, if you want a little bit more, I don't want us to say overpowered, but different school. It's kind of all about just causing a little bit of chaos in the game. And not like destruction chaos, but it's very interesting. But I still think it's a very viable school. It's officially made by them. It's very cool. We get some new helpers to play around with. You want some new evocations. The only thing that would have been kind of cool would have been if it would have also used that gift deck from the other one. I don't know if the one was made at a different time than the other, so maybe this is made before that existed. That could have very well been the case. But that would have definitely been a cool add-on thing to be like, so if they ever decide to like someone decides to revise this, maybe switch some of the, like, one or two of the cards out. Or even if we made like a Santa Judas to kind of go with this, would be kind of fun. Maybe give him that gift card deck, like, right? He can, if he's defeated, you get to hand out a gift, or he can do something to give out gifts. Although the problem is all the gifts are positive. It would be almost interesting to have like negative gift cards as well. So that could be kind of an interesting, different gameplay aspect. Alright, so that's what we have for the Christmas stuff. So let's take a look at some semi-print and play stuff. Alright, so these are Moon Influence tokens, but these are cards. So what this is, when I say semi-print and play, is they had these tokens that came out called Moon Influence tokens. Let me zoom back out a bit here. That were released during I think it was like a demo or a promo set that you could have gotten, or only available in like certain areas or certain countries. I don't remember how it was exactly released, but they're the tokens you could get, which would add additional effects throughout the game. Some fans went through and recreated the exact same effects, but made them into the small size cards. So these are the exact ideas, but they kind of updated them to be like Rebirth style, so it kind of explains a little more of what they get to do, versus just being like, hey, here's this token with symbols on it. Now you have to remember what all the symbols do. So it's actually a very good upgrade to a card. So what are Moon Influence tokens? So there are 12 of them. It says this set contains 12 tokens that allow mages to obtain small powers thanks to the moon's influence. Each token contains 2 effects. The upper one, A, can affect the game's progress, while the lower one, B, gives additional power points at the end of the game. So every card will always give at least 1 power point, otherwise they'll have an effect you can use. So how do you use these? Moon Influence tokens are an optional expansion of the core game. The optional rule allows mages to obtain Moon Influence tokens at each new moon phase. The mage keeps the obtained power tokens until the end of the game, gaining the power points shown in the lower section. Alternatively, a mage can spend and discard the token to activate the effects shown in the upper section. The Moon Influence tokens can be spent at any time during a mage's turn, except during the resolution of a spell effect. Moon Influence tokens are explained in detail in the box below. And then they explain what the symbols do down here. So it was a really neat mechanic here. So let's go ahead and take a look at what those all do. So here's the rules reference card. So it says at start of each new moon, start with the crown holder. Each moon draws 1 Moon Influence card. So again, they're cards instead of tokens. The mage can either discard a Moon Influence card during its turn for its effect, or keep it to the end of the game to gain 1. So essentially, gain them at each, at the starting of each phase, which you can start at the beginning of the game. Each player gets 1. You get 1 at each phase, so you only get 3 of them total. But there are 12 cards, so you have a bunch of different options there. What if you run out? Shuffle the ones that are used up, redraw them. If you don't have any, then it just means, so you're playing a 6-player game and you don't have any left by the second moon, because nobody's played them. That just means the someone might not get them. Then start the crown holder, go maybe in clockwise order, and then if the 4th or 5th player or 6th player don't get any, then they just don't get any, I guess. So the other thing I did is on these, I also named them all. So like this one, they're calling Royal Blood. Now again, does that make any difference? Nope, I think it makes the game a little bit more interesting so you can kind of tell what you're doing. It says, in base, I'm not going to reread the top and the bottom every time, because it's the same thing. They discard us to do this, or if at the end of the game you still hold us, it gains 1 power point. And they all have those 2 effects. But this one says, get the crown. So hey, if you really need the crown for an effect, or you want to take it from somebody else because they're abusing it, that could be cool. We have Rejuvenation. You heal 4 damage on yourself. And then it said some of these are going to show up just like this on there. They would have just been like a symbol on there, and that would have been like crown or heal 4 from your mage. But then you had to kind of interpret what the symbols do. So that's why this is also helpful for players. Move up to 1, move up to 1. The other thing to say, like, move 2 spaces. But this makes, again, more grammatical in sense, or game stats. So this is Endurance. We have Hidden Lever. Activate a room 0 spaces from yourself. the Death Bolt. Inflict 1 damage to a model 1 space from yourself. The Sucker Punch. Perform an attack against a mage in your space. Another Endurance. We have 2 Endurances. They'll let you move twice. We have Dark Energy. Place 1 instability in any space. The Wisdom Tome. Draw 3 cards from your Grimoire. Materialization. Convert 1 instability in 1 room from yourself. We have a second Rejuvenation. And then we have Metamorphosis. Convert 1 damage on a mage. On any mage. So that's pretty cool. I don't know why they decided when they made this to combine the move and the healing one twice. Would have almost been equal to combine 2 other things. This is also designed during the original game or after the original game before Rebirth came out. So, like, by the time Rebirth came out, there might have been some other different ideas or mechanics they maybe could have utilized. But yeah, so fun little, again, additions. If you don't want it, it's sort of like, you have some of these we've been talking about been new decks of cards. Some have been new scenarios to play to give you a little bit different on how to play it. This just adds a completely unique effect because you can combine it with all the other stuff, or you just play a standard game and add these in there if you want a little extra bonuses. Worst case is nobody uses anything. Everyone gets an extra potential 3 points at the end of the game. And if everyone gains the same amount of points, it's basically like nobody gained points, right? So, cool. Alright, so the next thing we have is a very similar thing to that. It was a bunch of cards that were made for one of the earlier Ashes magazines. As well as I believe they were included in, like, some other modes. So this is, the original Nova, yet this Black Rose Wars. So it's the Ordeal mode. So this adds another brand new deck of cards you can play as. So it says, Ordeal cards represent specific tasks mage must perform by the end of the game to prevent the Black Rose from gaining additional power points. Each Ordeal card has 2 different tasks. Each completed task will grant power points to both mage and the Black Rose, but if a mage fails to perform any of his or her tasks, he or she will lose against the Black Rose. The rules. These are deal cards in a Black Rose Wars game. Proceed the following rules. Set up 8 points, or 0.8. Shuffle the deal cards and give 2 of them per player at 0.10. And yeah, this is from the original rules, so Rebirth, these might not be the exact points. Each player selects one of the available Ordeal cards and discards the other. Point count after 0.4. Each player forms a deck with the available spell cards those currently on the mage card, grimoire, memoirs in the hand, then reveals his or her Ordeal card. So this is when you're counting it back at the end of the game and you're checking all your points. You're going to now reveal your Ordeal card that you have. Each player verifies that he or she has performed one or both of the tasks indicated on the Ordeal card by checking the previously formed deck, activation tokens, trophies, in his or her possession. And the quest is complete. In this phase, the symbols counted symbols of the elements. Is considered one of the element symbols required to the task. So yeah, basically the idea of it is you have an extra thing, little extra goal, hidden goal you have to try and complete that your opponents don't know about, and if you can, you gain some extra points. If you can't, the Black Rose can get some. Because each completed task point grants indicated power points to the mage and the Black Rose. If the mage has not performed any task on his or her card, the Black Rose gains the power points indicated in the center. If the mage has a number of power points equal to or greater than that of the Black Rose, his or her power point counter is moved to the board 1 point behind that of the Black Rose. If the mage has a number of power points equal to or greater than that of the Black Rose his or her counter is moved to the 1 point behind that of the Black Mage. So is this checked before you check everything else for your points? Interesting. So not really sure on that exactly how that last rule works. But let's go ahead and look at these cards. So I just put them on the back of some extra quest cards I had. They didn't have official backs. At least none that I found pictures of. And I want to say also, I said earlier in the video, I said I found a Discord, unofficial Discord channel, which has a lot of people doing custom stuff. So it's very possible people have updated these since then. So again, I'll take a look at that in the future. But for now, let's take a look at what these are. So, if you complete the top one on this card, I'm not going to read the points every time, you would gain 3 points, Rose gains 2. If you complete the bottom, they gain 2. You gain 2, they gain 1. But if you complete neither of them, they gain 5. So you could complete both, and you could gain 5 points, and the Rose could gain 3, or they could just gain 5. So then what we're checking for is the other mages have a maximum total of 3 of your trophy tokens. So if you've died at least 3 times, so kind of helps you kind of do this actively by not avoiding everybody, by getting in the thick of combat, getting up next to people. So, or you have at least 4 defense spells or protection spells. So again, this kind of deck building. As you're buying stuff, you want to make sure you pick up those extra cards. You have the activation token of the Black Rose Room. And you have a forgotten spell in your hand at the end of the game. Which obviously you're adding them all up, just means you haven't used it. Once you use the cards, they go away. You have at least 4 trophy tokens. Or you have at least 5 fire spells, and you have at least 5 water spells. Now, these ones could be very interesting to try and do, because you really have to theme. It depends what schools are available. You have at least 2 activation tokens from the following rooms: gray, yellow, or purple. And you have at least 6 fire spells. You have at least 2 activations from blue, red, and yellow, and you have at least 6 magic spells. I forgot what that symbol is off the top of my head. At least 2 activations from green, blue, and red, or you have at least 6 earth spells. You have 2 activations from purple, red, or gray, or you have at least 8 combat spells. 2 activation from the gray, green, blue. You have at least 6 water spells. You have a spell for each school, not forgotten spells, or you have at least 5 mountain and 5 air. You have completed a quest for every moon, doesn't matter how many, just as long as you have at least 1, or you have at least 6 traps. You have at least 7 profane spells, or you have at least 5 holy spells or angelic. And the last one is you have a spell card for each school, or you have 5 mountain or 5 winged. So very cool. It's a very interesting, again, kind of like the ordeal cards. Not the ordeal, these are the moon influence tokens or slash cards. Is they just add an additional thing to kind of do during the game. That doesn't generally affect standard gameplay, because as you look at them, they kind of sit there. If you can complete them, great. If you're not going to be anywhere near completing them, you might not worry about it. But I mean, it can affect it to an extent with these, because it's going to kind of dictate where your deck building might go a little bit. But yeah, kind of, again, you draw 2 at the turn, you get to pick which one you want. So you can kind of maybe even decide what you're willing to try and do. If you know you need that forgotten spell, you're going to do it. If you know you need to get a spell from each school, you're going to definitely try and do that. But you can always look at the spell books as well and say, like, oh, there's not enough earth to even complete this. Like, there's one school that has earth, I'd have to buy all from that school. And maybe that's, like, I don't really want that many cards from that school, so it might not be worth doing the bottom one. So you're just going to focus on the top. Luckily, you don't have to complete both. So yeah, very, very interesting way to kind of manipulate the game at the end. Which I always think bonus points are kind of neat, kind of like the same thing, like the moon influence tokens. Although that's only going to be, again, like up to like 3, maybe 4 points at the most. Depending on which phase you count. If you count first, second, and third phase. But yeah, these having hidden points at the end of the game is kind of like we play Mario Party at the end. It's like, oh, who had the most stars? Who moved the most spaces? Now, there could be some other interesting things you could add in here as well. There are obviously a lot more different options. They could have maybe something like, because this is just counting what your deck is made of. They could have had other things. It could have been like, at the end of the game, do you have a forgotten evocation out on the table, or do you have all 3 evocation slots filled? Are they all the same creature? Are they all different creatures? So they could have added some different stuff like that. They could have had more things with having trophies from the other players. They could have had, just other different combinations. Maybe having two activation tokens from the same room. So you could add a lot more to this and make it a lot more random. Alright, so that's what we have we have all the print and play stuff. We have the new school, the new scenarios, these extra cards that were, again, said print and play because they do physically exist, but I had to print out versions because I can't find them anywhere, or if you can, they're going to be very expensive. So if I could ever get a hold of physical cards, I probably would love to have them. So the last one we want to go through is the new school, which is the Angelic school. So 1 second. Alright, so this is the Angelic school. This was, again, a fan-made set. And normally I wouldn't generally just do fan-made creations. I might do another video of them, a bunch of stuff, but typically I don't jump into too much fan-made stuff often. But I did post this one because, again, Ludus Magnet Studio posted it. They posted it themselves during one of their campaigns, so they must have went over this and approved it. Not necessarily mean it's an official set or anything, but they liked it enough. So it comes with its own, you have to print off your own deck of cards, which has 3 cards, 3 of each card. There's actually an additional 1 more card that goes with the set, which is cool. We have some brand new evocations, some tokens we got as well. There are a bunch of these tokens you can print off, and there's a new mage. Now, there is no miniature or standee or anything. It was printed with the mage during these files, so I just have a card. I don't have anything to represent, or the evocations. I didn't even have any tokens to represent them. So you kind of have to find something to represent all those things yourself. Now, I did say I refound the link to this just so I could post it in the description below in the video. They did do a rebirth update for this. I don't know how much of the text has changed. I haven't went through it, but I've already had this printed off and I've been just waiting around to make this video. So I will maybe at some point go through, re-look at that, reprint it off, and have the updated version, as well as some other stuff. They had a couple other schools, plus a lot of other fan cards I saw in there are really cool. They're updating a lot of the character models and stuff. It might be cool to go through all them. I might even just do that as more of a PowerPoint to begin with, rather than printing everything off. But let's go ahead and take a look at our brand new mage first. So it's Morningstar. And this is based off of the original Black Rose Wars, not the rebirth style, which is why it might look a little bit different from everything else. But it has a hand size of 8, a health of 12, 2 movement, and 2 attack. And you'll notice they don't have the quest size because the original one, everyone always had 2 no matter what, so they didn't bother to list it on the cards. And they have a spot for their action tokens, which sneakily in there, they do also have 3D printed action tokens you can get, which my second side did not come out again. Again, still learning how to use my 3D printer. But yeah, so it's kind of neat. So you can have your action tokens. You can print them off. You can paint them colors for each different color if you wanted to print those off. I just did a quick test one. So we do have the Morningstar Angel here, and they have their signature cards, which is the Archangel. So it says, the Archangel says, summon a Guardian Angel, it activates immediately. On the flip side, and again, the old ones didn't necessarily, they just had the arrow for the light and the dark. They didn't have the different colors, which is why the rebirth is a little bit nicer for that. Defeat a mage with 3 of your blessings. You receive that mage's trophy. Do not award points for their defeat. So this is a really interesting character because it has some neat stuff, but to use them blessings, meaning you have to be using, you might have to be using the Angelic School to do that. So before, though, we head into the school, let's take a look at the evocations. Now, the only thing I didn't like, at least in the original thing is they did not mention how many models or miniatures you would have to have. Most of the games say, like you have 2 of this big guy, or you have 5 of this guy, or 8 of this one. So you kind of have an idea of how many every player can get. The only one limit to this is it says you can only have, a mage can only control up to 2 guardian angels at a time, but that does not necessarily mean there can't be more than two angels on the field. You could only have 2 total, and then one can only have up to 2 at a time, but you could have 3 or 4 or 5 of them. I don't know, I don't know the size of them. Usually the smaller miniatures have more. What I did was I made 3. I figured that was the average for like your medium-sized characters. So what do the guardian angels do for us? I'm going to zoom in on this, because since the Archangel card can summon them. 3 movement, 3 attack, 4 health. You may only control 2 angels at a time. And this one specifically says angels, so if there's other angel cards, it might not work. It says, when it activates, it targets the mage with the fewest blessings. After it deals damage, give 1 blessing to the target mage. So this is where your Archangel card could still work with that. It's going to target guys. If it ends up hitting a guy 3 times, you can just straight up defeat them. Although, if he's hitting them, it says after it deals damage, give a blessing. If he's hit a guy 3 times and they haven't been defeated yet, which is 9 damage, and they haven't ever taken any other damage, yeah, I don't see why you couldn't have a free defeat on them. So you can just target them from somewhere else, but that might be really hard to do. Then the other thing we had is I made 5 because they're altars, and the other altars in the core set, we had 5 of each. You have the Blessed Altar. I do not know where the creator got these. The creator, I'm not going to release the creator's name. I'll have the link if you want to go look it up, because I don't like spreading people's names out on the internet in case they don't want them. Because like one thing I saw had them, but then in the Discord they weren't using another thing. Like the original Facebook, when they're talking about, they had his name, but when they got into the Discord, people are using their names on there, their other names. So I don't want to give away who it was. You can definitely go look up the document if you want. Not to not give this person credit. If they see this video and they want credit, I can definitely go back and edit that in the comments, as well as I can maybe edit the video. But otherwise, I don't like to shout out people's real names on the internet. It's not my right. Alright, so we have Blessed Altars, which are altar cards. She'll work like all the other altars for effects. 0 movement, 0 attack, 3 health. When a Blessed Altar activates, a guardian angel within 1 spot may activate under the altar owner's control. So this will let you just use guardian angels as well a little bit more effectively. Okay, cool. So before we jump into the actual cards, let's take a look at some of the rules. We have Angelic School. There are only 12 blessings allowed in the Angelic School of Magic. So of the tokens, we can only have 12 of them total. So if you are playing as this mage and you have their card, you might be adding those a little bit more often. Blessings are given to mage. Blessings cannot be given to evocations. Mage may have no more than 3 blessings. Blessings are removed from a mage sheet when defeated. Removed by an angelic mage through a spell or effect during step 2 of the cleanup phase. So they're not going to last around very long. It says, when a mage is given a blessing, the blessings grant extra health, 1 per blessing, beyond the normal health limit. Once a mage exceeds their normal damage threshold, the extra damage cubes are placed on the blessing tokens. Once all given blessing tokens have a damage cube on, the mage is defeated. Resolve, defeat normally, remove the blessings. This is kind of a neat idea. You're giving everybody extra health tokens, or yourself or your teammate, but we do have the angels, Morningstar, can take advantage of that. If blessing and damage tokens are removed for any reason besides a normal defeat during the game, after those effects are resolved, the mage that had blessings removed is instantly defeated. So again, if you had 10 health, for example, and you had 2 blessing tokens, if you have damage on both of those, one of those blessing tokens, and both of them got removed, you would still have over 10 damage, and you would be defeated. So it says, step 2 of the cleanup phase, a mage removes the blessing tokens, even if some have damage deals on them. And that mage may heal 1 per blessing token removed. The damage deals on the blessing do not count towards this heal, nor is the mage defeated. So that's also an interesting extra mechanic you have to pay attention to, is that when you're doing the cleanup phase, you'll remove them. So if I have 3 blessing tokens, regardless if I have damage on them or not, I ignore them and I can heal 3 points. So I can heal 3 of my initial regular, 8 or 10 health, even if I have damage on them cubes. If they get removed, though, for any other reason than that, then I can die. It says a mage may control 2 guardian angels at a time. If there's a tie for mage with the least blessings, the angel's controller decides that target. When the prayer Thrice Blessed is awarded, it goes directly to your hand. Thrice Blessed is played directly from your hand during another player's turn. The following normal rules apply. Once played during step 1 of the cleanup phase, is returned to the Angelic school pool of prayer cards. When playing as Morningstar, they have quest limit for 1 of both active and completed. If playing with rebirth rules. So just keep in mind with that. Cast a spell from your hand, choose 1 spell from your mage sheet, ready to activate or unused, and discard to your memories. Then replace 1 spell of your choice from a card ahead and cast it immediately. I think that's for the Blessed, Thrice Blessed. So alright, there we go. So we have some different stuff. So if we look at the Angelic cards, it's going to have 2 magic, 2 air, 2 anything, 2 air, 10 holy, or I always forget which one that's called, and 6 magic. And there are 2 grimoires. We have heaven and earth. So let's take a look at what these cards do. We have Guardian Angel, which says, summon a Guardian Angel, it activates. Very cool. And then on the flip side, we have remove your Guardian Angel to give up to 3 blessings to 2 mages, or mage 2 spaces away. It gains 1 point. So right here, this is kind of cool, because this would work really well with him just to be able to, the mage, Morningstar, to really straight up defeat someone with that. We have Millie. When you are defeated, you may heal 3 damage to avoid the defeat. So nice little extra healing defense card. On the other side, we have when you are defeated, you do not award a trophy, gain 2 points. The Divine Blessing. Give up to 3 blessings to all mages in play. Return to your cell, you are not defeated. On the flip side, we have remove up to 3 blessings to place 1 instability or convert 1 instability in that space per blessing removed, so whoever you're targeting. Divine Right. Give up to 3 blessings. Move 1 space. Give up to 2 blessings to a different target. Here we have remove 2 blessings without damage cubes to send the target to their cell. They are not defeated. So this is kind of neat. You're giving guys bonuses, but then you have ways to take them away to activate additional effects. It's more or less just, here's a resource I can give to players, and then here's something I can do to take that resource away. But as long as they have them, they're gaining bonuses. So you're kind of having to give them a little extra advantage of having extra health for at least a few turns. But then you can yank it away from them at any time. Corsair. You may suffer 4 damage from the Black Rose if you do activate one of your Guardian Angels with +1 attack. On the flip side, target activates if the evocation is a demon or an undead with 3 health or more, or less, remove it instead to summon a Guardian Angel there. So that's kind of cool. So, you can target, activate one of your evocations, or if it's a demon or undead, you can straight up just summon your Guardian Angel instead. We have a Blasphemy. Deal 2 damage. The target is a mage, remove up to 2 blessings, deal 1 damage per blessing removed. I have deemed you not worthy. We have remove the target demon or undead with 3 health or less from play to summon a guardian there for free. We have Ignis. deal 3 damage. If the model is a mage, move up to 3 blessings or deal 1 damage per blessing. Remove from the mage. On the side, we have deal 1 damage. You may remove up to 2 blessings from a mage in the room and deal 1 damage per blessing removed. Celestial Fortification. The next damage you would suffer, redirect it back to its owner, max of 3, give a blessing. That's kind of funny, like, you hit me instead. I'm like, no, you hurt yourself. But here, son, have a healing. The next time you suffer damage, ignore the damage up to 3, give a blessing, and gain a rose. So this one just straight up ignores it, but you gain a point. The other one redirects it, but you don't gain a point. So it's kind of like, which one do you want? Do you want that point or not? Bless your heart. Give up to 3 blessings to a target mage, up to 2 blessings to a mage 1 space from that target, and give a blessing up to a different mage from the target. So it's Chain Blessing. That would have been a cooler name, like Chain Lightning with Chain Blessing. Summon a blessed altar and activate it. We have Sacred Sanctum. Summon a guardian angel. You may lose 1 point. If you do, the angel may activate. On the flip side, we have remove up to 3 blessings to deal 1 damage or convert 1 damage per blessing removed. We have Sacred Pathways. Move up to 2 blessings to summon a blessed altar in up to 1 space away. It may activate. And on the other side, move up to 3 blessings to summon a guardian angel. The mage is not defeated, the angel activates. So very cool. So we have a couple of cards out. We have 1 card left for the main deck, which is Rosary. Give the thrice blessed player prayer to a mage within 3 blessings. Remove the blessings and gain a point. On the other side, we have remove up to 3 blessings from target mage. If you do, place 1 instability or convert 1 for each blessing removed. Remove from the target to the target. So very interesting. So we only have 2 cards that summon altars. We have a bunch of cards that summon the guardians. So the altars aren't going to get summoned too often. Mages, the guardian angels are coming a bunch. Then the last card we got then is we mentioned 1 time. We have 1 card that does thrice bless. So it's kind of odd. I wish there was more things that triggered it, just because it seems like an interesting idea. But if you only have 1 card that triggers it, you might only have to have 1 copy of the card. I printed off 3 because at the time I was like, yeah, you have 3 of every card. But yeah, you only probably need 1 copy because you only have 1 card that summons it. And it has a little prayer icon. It has a different extra star symbol for a card name. It says, the next damage you suffer, ignore all damage and inflict it back to the attacker. If you're within 1 space of a guardian angel, gain 2 points. Yeah, so this is supposed to just be it says, if we look at this again, when a player's blessed is awarded, it goes directly to your hand. It's played directly from your hand during another player's turn, following all normal rules. Once played during a step of the cleanup best, return to the Angelic School's prayer card. To cast a spell from your hand, choose a spell, discard to your memories, and replace it with a spell of your choice from your hand. And immediately replace it with 1 spell of a choice from your hand, and then immediately cast it. So yeah, this is just letting you cast this right from your hand. It's a neat idea, interesting new concept. 1 card to get, it's not going to come up too often. But yeah, it's interesting. So you take damage, you can just ignore all the damage and redirect them at any time, and have your possible gain some stuff. So yeah, very interesting new mechanic. I will again have to see what they maybe updated or changed in the rebirth style of this game. Maybe they adjusted some of the text. Maybe they had more people look at it and rebalance it a little bit. Not for sure. But yeah, so there we have the Angelic. So Ignis, Guardian Angel, Sacred Sanctum, Blasphemy, Maker, and Cloister, or Divine Right, Bless Your Heart, Celestial, Orbitation, Sacred Pathways, Divine Blessing, and Rosary. Alright, that is what we have for this this Black Rose Wars video. I do have other cards in here that I did not go over, but I could. I didn't go over them, but they did have some. How many more? I said all of them. Probably seen the pile. Yeah, we had some reprints that came out. They had some errata cards. I'll probably do them in a different video, but they did errata some of the other big cards. Most of them I printed off. You can go to their web app and get those. I printed them off for myself, but most of them were very minor adjustments. Maybe they just clarified the rules a little bit or cleaned up some text. I think the only one that majorly changed might have been the Druid class. So yeah, there is that. That's what we have for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys later. Bye.